Discourse 9. Beloved Minutemen, friends of America, today in the fullness of all life holds for you, let us speak from the fullness of that great life. All that mankind has today, ever has had, or ever will have, is the action of life. And if understood from its true, great truth of life, it would produce perfection for them everywhere. Again today, in opening our heart-to-heart conversation with you, you will understand again that never in all mankind's history has there been anything but inharmony in the feelings of mankind that has caused limitation or distress. Thus, starting our conversation today, you will understand why mankind has no more understood than you have how to bring about the reason and the means by which you can hold your self-control and govern your feelings. Now today, all who have come into this understanding I have brought forth, the knowledge of the mighty I Am Presence, have before them the scepter of dominion and power over their human qualities, over their self-control, and through that, they are able to project into their world of activity that great energy, intelligence, and power of the presence of all life, the mighty I Am, to produce its perfection there. In all the world today, there is not one thing that mankind needs as much as this simple understanding of life. In fact, it has been so simple that mankind has believed that it could not be true. But thousands and thousands of students today are hourly and daily proving this great law to be absolutely accurate and infallible. And we, as ascended beings, have proven this identical same application to be infallible. Then we are in a position to encourage you to apply the law until you prove it for yourself. I say to you, Minutemen and friends of America, there is not one thing in all the universe that amounts to anything to you until you prove it to yourself. Mankind has said to each other, well, you show me. You prove to me that thus and so is true. That is impossible. No one can prove anything to another, and the sooner mankind understand that, the sooner they will come into harmonious action with themselves and necessarily the rest of their associates. In doing this, you will find that all the feeling that mankind has had to want to influence, to want to dominate or cause another to do their will have vanished from the earth. Therefore I say to you, Minutemen and friends of America, first, understand this one great principle of life. The only thing that has deprived you of all your heart craves or the happiness and perfection you desire is inharmony registered in your feeling world. Now let us dismiss it once and forever. Remember, your business alone is to harmonize and perfect your own world and activity. What someone else does is not your slightest concern, but you have believed it was up to you to govern somebody else, when the only thing required is to govern your own feeling world. Then, when you have harmonized it, call the presence of light with all your heart for its mighty intelligence, invincible protection, and its mighty radiance pouring forth to come into your world of action and produce its perfection there. Now you will understand, beloved friends of America, the students do, that your life is flowing forth through your body, a power of energy. When you run against something in the dark, or when you become aware of the power that you are using every time you eat your food by the pressure of your jaws, then you will know the limitless energy that you are already using. When I say to you that you are using only about 10% of the power and energy that is in your privilege to use, then you will understand why you have not had greater perfection, greater results in your world of activity. But when you do understand this, then you will see that beating your heart is your authority, is your life, is your greater intelligence that you can call forth into action from the great presence of life which is above you. Then you will see that not a thing in all the wide world can limit you but yourself. You can call this presence forth, and remember, it is the power of light acting. Therefore, the power of light knows no opposition. It moves forward into action at your call, for the light never battles anything in the universe. That is why we say to you, beloved friends of America, those who seemingly try to oppose this light or say unkind things about the messengers, they are sounding their own destruction. They do not believe that, but one day they will find that true, for they have put forth the cause, which is destructive thought and feeling that must return upon them. Now it is true with any human being on earth that what you send forth through your feelings must return again to you. I say to you, friends of America and beloved Minutemen, this simple, magnificent understanding is the imperative need of all mankind today. You must realize that your feeling world is the cause of all there is, and the feeling world of all mankind is the cause of all there is in the mass of mankind. When you realize that mankind blames governments, blames cities, blames your state, or perhaps your governors for certain conditions, yet in the feeling world of mankind is the power to control all that. For when you admit a thing, you add to the destructive qualities that are already acting there. Beloved Minutemen, and also I say to the friends of America, remember, you cannot remedy anything by condemning it. You only add to that destructive force which is already acting. Whether it be a sincere friend, an associate, whether it be in your business activity, the moment you allow condemnatory feelings and criticism to go forth from your feelings, you are driving into your activity a destructive quality that will one day shatter everything that is about you if you continue to do it. Therefore, today, in this opportunity, I want so much to put before you these simple laws in a way that even the intellect cannot reject. For in this is your freedom, is the supply. I say to you today, in the need of the money supply that so many hundreds of thousands of people are calling for, and in many cases in desperation to have the supply for food, shelter, and clothing, beloved ones, think of it. Beating your heart is the power of light. Energy and intelligence that would within a few hours release to you the supply of money you require, only because you believe that your supply is dependent upon mankind, I mean the human form of mankind, do you limit yourself. You believe that certain things, certain activities in the outer world are your only means of gaining your supply. I say to you, you have reversed the whole current of your life energy in that attitude. For when you call to the mighty I Am presence, which is your treasure house for this supply, then you will release the intelligence of your presence, the mighty I Am, into action. Now notice, action, beloved ones, is what you require. For anything static or still will not produce the result. Therefore, when you call this forth into action, know that your presence is the treasure house. Then through you will flow the current of energy, and directly from your higher mental body into persons, places, and conditions will flow these direct currents of energy to harmonize and bring about this release of energy and supply you require. Once you understand this, you will not 24 hours longer be deprived of the money you actually require for use. This is a simple law, but it is majestic and all-powerful. There is no reason why mankind should be deprived. They do not know it, but they alone are depriving themselves. It is not easy to accept that, but someday everyone, everywhere will be compelled to accept it, because there is only one cause in all the world for the mass condition, for the individual condition, and that is the feeling of mankind. Until I brought this understanding forth, there had never been anyone upon the face of the earth who had 5 minutes contemplation or understanding that their feeling world was their powerhouse, and that it was the one principal thing to be governing in their worlds. Therefore, I say to you today, in starting this activity, remember, beloved Minutemen and friends of America, when I speak to you, my own rays of light go out to you. It doesn't make any difference where you are. While you are listening to me, my ray of light goes out and enters your feeling world. If you will accept it, you will find it producing changes, blessings untold to you. Those who are listening with the desire to condemn and criticize my words and myself and the messengers, remember, you are just condemning yourself and displaying your ignorance in attempting to oppose the light. While you do not believe this, I say to you, this light will stand forever. This light will go on in its mighty expansion until every human is free, and we know how to apply the law to do it. I say to you, beloved friends of America, and I say this with so great a kindness, whatever there is of a critical, condemnatory, or destructive feeling that comes forth from the individual has to return upon them. I would be so glad to see them prevent this, but as long as they insist on it, then they must reap exactly what they have sown. Those who have been preaching Jesus Christ with one breath, calling for the presence of Jesus Christ, and with the next breath condemning their fellow man, are certainly a house divided against itself. So it is with all mankind, where there are two forces acting in your life, 1 hour of happiness and harmony, and the next of criticism and condemnation of some kind. These are qualities acting, beloved friends of America and beloved Minutemen, and there is no law in the universe that can stay it but yourself. Whatever feeling is acting in you must be the power that is going to be the dominant action in your life. Therefore, as you understand how to prevent this, and remember, you as a human being through the intellect cannot change or remedy these things, but through your intellect and your feeling you call to the presence of all life, to silence all human qualities within you and pour forth the limitless energy of purity and perfection of the presence, the mighty I Am, to flow forth in your world and harmonize everything. Then you have fulfilled the law of your life and everyone's life to produce perfection for you. As you understand this, you will find that quickly will come into action this complete change in your life. The messenger has had innumerable letters recently from students who have been studying for some time, and only in the recent shrine class did they comprehend the understanding of some of these simple, fundamental laws. They clicked, so to speak, within their consciousness for action that has enabled them to produce such so-called miraculous results since the beginning of that class. Therefore, it shows to all of you that it is only continuous application, unyielding to the appearance world about you, that will finally break through the human creation and produce these exact results for you. I am so delighted to see the evidence before mankind and among the students of how they have gone on and on in their application, many times feeling that they have not gained the victory which should have been theirs, but not knowing that within the feeling world was lurking some latent feeling that was acting unbeknown to the intellect, and that was preventing the answer to their call and application which they were making. Just as soon as the full conviction of their authority and power of application begins to act, everything reverses and the answer comes immediately at their call. That is so with every human being on earth in applying this law. It means only one thing, beloved friends of America and beloved Minutemen. As the messengers have proven to the world, you must keep up your application, definitely, just as if you were driving home a great and mighty truth and activity. Keep on applying, not especially looking for results because they are sure to come, but applying with dynamic determination. Then one day you will see every seeming obstruction has dissolved. Then your application will be producing such instantaneous results as will satisfy the most exacting. Life has always stood ready to do this for you, but remember, never in the world have mankind been aware that their feeling was the opposing power in their life. Now that is by your requalification and the faculties that are yours, which you are using every minute. Your qualification is a feeling, and when you understand how you can call the presence to stop that, then hold harmony in your feelings, then, as you call this mighty presence into action, life will produce perfection. Since you do have free will to qualify this energy going forth with whatever feeling is acting in your feeling world, then you will see how you have been responsible for any limitation or mistakes that have been there, and how your presence of life will enable you to remedy this. Now remember, You and the human must balance this energy by your attempt at self-control and your call to the presence. If you call to the presence and then keep on doing the things in the human quality, you will not get your result. But when you call the presence into action, then hold the balance in the human form by self-control, then you will find so quickly will come the answer to your call as definite as the tick of the clock. Therefore I say to you, beloved ones, try out this law. It cannot harm you. I say to you, beloved friends of America, and you who have heard a great deal of false gossip concerning the messengers and this work, let me assure you and show you the reason why these reports put forth are falsehoods. In the presence of life, in the use of the light rays, the human cannot produce these, nor call them forth into action. You call to your presence of life, the mighty I Am, to produce these light rays, to project the energy either in and through your body or directly into a given objective, to produce a certain result. That comes from God, the mighty I Am presence. Do you think that God would produce any imperfection, any harmful activity for mankind? Therefore, you see in the outset how it would be impossible for the use of the light rays to produce anything but perfection. Now there has been a lot said recently about the danger of the use of the light rays. That is abject ignorance, for they could not harm anything, but they do produce perfection for you. Therefore we, as ascended beings, use wholly the projection of the light rays for the magnificent results we have already produced every time we use them. And the students today, in calling forth the activity of their mighty I Am presence, are having these exact same results. In the thousands of calls that come to the messengers every month, by his own call to the presence, he has charged his own higher mental body to answer these calls, whether he receives them in the physical octave or not. And he finds more than half the calls sent in for assistance are answered before the outer call reaches his physical senses, proving that your higher mental body stands guard, if you understand how to ask it to do so, and will render this service not only to yourself, but to anyone else who might call to you for help. This is a definite law of life. It is being proven constantly. The people who deny it are just simply foolish, because mankind can prove all this. The messengers have said to you constantly, don't believe us, prove us. And that is exactly what we want you to do. We want you to prove these laws, which are your own laws of life, for yourself. Then you are satisfied. You are convinced. For the individual convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Therefore, to convince yourself means you have placed yourself in a position where no discord or falsehood brought to your attention will longer affect you. And that is the position of the messengers today. For with all the raving wolves in the outer world putting forth falsehoods concerning them, well, they are wholly unconcerned. That is the party of the individual who sends it forth. The messengers know it cannot harm them, and all mankind will one day see this. I say to you, beloved Minutemen and friends of America, when you understand there is not one thing in the whole universe that can touch you, limit you, or harm you, but that which acts through your own feeling world, then will you come into the fullness of life. You cannot do it until you do realize that. Follow me just for a few moments as I call your attention to how you have fed your magnificent life energy into individual places and conditions to harm and limit you. Think of it, gentlemen and friends of America. All mankind have done this. The messengers themselves did it in the beginning, but think how it has been reversed today. These are such mighty laws, and they are acting with every human being on the face of the earth. Remember, let me anchor this so firmly in your consciousness today that you will never forget it in the world. Not one thing in the universe can reach, touch, or harm you except your own feeling. It cannot do it. When your life stream feeds into any destructive condition, it comes back to reach you. That is why the messengers are so unconcerned about those who spread vicious falsehoods concerning them, because they know these people must reap what they sow. Jesus said that, but who of mankind has believed it? As ye sow, so shall ye reap. If all the world could understand that one simple thing, the world would be transformed almost immediately, but no one has driven this at mankind. Now you see the messengers and myself are driving this forth, and we will never let up until mankind understand it. I say to you, gentlemen and friends of America, you are absolutely helpless before the forces of life acting until you understand this one simple thing. Let me repeat it again, gentlemen and friends of America. I want you to get this. There is not one destructive thing that can reach you or your world of action except you feed your life energy into it by the power of your attention. When your attention is fixed upon a person, place, or condition, your stream of life energy is feeding into that, has connected with it. Therefore, think of it. On your own stream of life comes back to you the quality upon which your attention is fixed. Gentlemen, it is the most marvelous, magnificent thing. This simple understanding will transform your world when you once understand it. Oh, not just with the intellect, but with your feeling and its governing power. Therefore, you are in a position to hold dominion in your world and allow the presence and power of your own life to flood forth like a mighty river. For as your attention goes to your presence, the mighty I Am, the stream of light and energy flowing in and through your body would intensify from 10 to 50-fold more than it has ever flowed. And why? Because the impelling power of the cosmic light today is giving you such assistance as never before in the history of the earth. I say to you, friends of America, remember that when we are speaking of the cosmic light, the cosmic law, we are not speaking of the terms that the outer scientists use today in reference to the cosmic light and the cosmic law. We are speaking about the mighty currents of energy released from the great central sun, which is a focus of the cosmic light and cosmic law projected by the great groups of ascended beings who are governing from that center of the activity to this system of planets. Therefore, we are not dealing with the accumulated cosmic light in the atmosphere, but a cosmic light and concentrated activity that is projected by a great, wise intelligence, which will produce certain results upon earth and through mankind. Notice what the power of your attention will do as you come to understand what it means in connection with this mighty activity. When your attention is upon this great cosmic law, which is projected for the blessing of yourself and the earth and the protection of America, then have you not entered into the greatest stream of energy known to mankind, which will produce exact results in, through, for, and around you, so long as your attention keeps going to the source of it? We as ascended beings, being the vanguard of humanity, have gone through all the experiences that you go through, having attained by this identical application. Then, are we not in a position to advise, to instruct, to help you to understand these laws? Will you tell me that there is any unascended human being who can know these laws as we do, who have passed through the physical experience and, by this application, raised ourselves into the ascension and are wholly perfect beings? You will understand even in the intellect, beloved friends of America and beloved Minutemen, how this is certain. One who has passed through, attained the full victory of perfection, is the only one who could be the authority upon this law of life, and that is why I say to you, we are the only authority that is today. When mankind have raised their consciousness, their feeling, into the position that we occupy today, then they too will know definitely firsthand these truths which we have brought to you. But you must prove them for yourself. We had to, and we had, in the day of our attainment, conditions far more difficult than you have to contend with today. The conditions that we passed through then were so many times harder than the experience today. Mankind have sought this knowledge over the entire earth, have spent vast fortunes in searching out the truth of life. You today, beloved Minutemen and beloved friends of America, are the most fortunate beings ever on earth, because brought into the comfort of your own cities, your own homes, is the same identical law and its application that mankind have sought the earth over to find, and have sought the retreats of the world. Only a few have ever found them. Because of the inharmony being too great in their feeling world, they were not admitted, and of course they were turned aside by the activity of the feeling world, and their search was in vain. Now you today, think of it, you are being sought because of the need of mankind today. Well, in the heart of everyone is that reaching out, yet the light today is searching you out. Think how everything is reversed from centuries ago. We had to search. We had to find, but you today, in the comfort of your cities and your present civilization, are being sought by the light. What do I mean by that? I mean that the light within your own heart, in its expansion, in its reaching out, is bringing you in contact with this understanding of life. Think of it. When I say to you, beloved friends of America, did you ever know any human beings on the face of this earth that make the concentrated call that the messengers do in their classwork? Mighty I Am presence bring into our class those whose expansion of their light enables them to accept this mighty understanding of life and keep out all others. Did you ever in your life hear of such a thing? I think not. But that is because the messengers know and understand that unless the light in the individual has expanded enough, they cannot accept the great truth of life. But your light, beloved friends of America, will listen to it. Why are you listening? You might think it was out of curiosity, but it is because the light within your own heart has expanded. And the thousands of people who did not know of this broadcast, who have turned in upon it today, what caused you to suddenly turn to your radio and turn it on to this station? I want you to understand, friends of America, that the power of light in you is acting, that the power of that same light will lead you into the fullness of all truth, the mighty I Am, and thereby you will gain your freedom financially and every other way. I say to you, in your health demand today, in your financial need, you are the absolute decreer of what shall come into action. Decree a thing and it shall be done unto you. I want you to understand that your call is no longer a supplication. Your call is a decree, a demand, a command, if you please, to the energy of life to produce definite results for you. Beloved ones, let me remind you, 2,000 years ago, the priesthood of the world, or of that small locality, nailed your beloved Jesus to the cross. If he were to appear in the outer world, which he will later do, they would like to do the same thing again. I want you to see definitely it was those who claimed to be the religious authority of the world that nailed your beloved Jesus to the cross. When he came into the church in New York, to the blessed there, he was condemned because he had seen Jesus, because he had heard Jesus talk to him. This time when Jesus comes forth, all humanity together will not nail him to the cross. I say to you, unfortunate human beings who have denied him and my reality will find me standing by his side. I say to you of the outer world, you might just as well stop your criticism and condemnation because you are wasting your time and energy. You will see that perhaps too late, but don't say to yourself or your fellow associates, I did not know. It was too bad, but I did not understand. You are listening today and you do understand. So whatever you do in the future of criticism or condemnation, remember the results rest upon your own head. And very quickly. Therefore, I ask you not to do it. I am kind to you. Won't you be as kind to me? I say to you who are listening with the desire to tear what I say to pieces, you are wasting your time. You are wasting your energy, and you will need it later, so have it conserved. Don't think you frighten me. Oh, long, long ago, I stood beyond the fright of mankind. Therefore, I ask you, friends of America, to realize today that you are standing in the greatest activity that America has ever known. One day, friends of America, you will understand what the mighty body of I Am students has done for you, unbeknown because you had not touched this work. In the mighty decrees that they have sent forth, this holds the mighty revolving energy within the gas belts, subject to the direction of the great beings of light and governed by them. That would have blown some of your America to pieces many months ago. Oh, beloved people of America, people of San Francisco, be careful in your harmony there. You are sitting on a volcano, and the danger threatens you every hour of your life. I say to New York, call with all your power to the mighty presence of life to hold its invincible protection about you. The mighty call of the students everywhere is holding this mighty, invincible protection for the people of America. You do not dream that underneath the earth's surface, waiting to surge forth, is the release of the energy within those gas belts that would wreck the earth until you would not think there was a semblance of it left. This is no idle talk. This is nothing to frighten humanity, but so that they may make the call and give the assistance to that which has already been given, so that this condition may be controlled within the earth's surface, and what must be released will be released where it will produce the least possible destruction. Therefore, today, in your opportunity, friends of America, won't you join the great body of I Am, students of more than 500,000? I say to you, for the rejoicing of the Minutemen, yesterday I checked our records, which we keep of the numbers of students, and more than 600,000 are now calling forth to the presence of life. Thank you, beloved ones. Please be seated. I take this opportunity to thank every student in America and the world, every friend of America who is secretly making this call to the presence of life, the mighty I Am, for that service rendered. And I thank those who have been instrumental in bringing about the use of the transcriptions over the radio, the broadcast of the classwork, and that of the beloved messenger, your beloved Lotus, before the classes. Beloved friends of America, one day when you see what this means, then how grateful you will be that you have become a part of my great family. I assure you I am a very kindly Father with a love so great that it lifts the heart of mankind into that comprehension of the presence of life, and will one day bring your complete release. You don't know me, but I know you and have known you for a long time. Friends of America, if life did not give you more than one opportunity to adjust yourself, your conditions, and remedy the mistakes that you have made, one life would be a travesty upon the face of the earth. Those who deny re-embodiment are foolish in the extreme. When we know that it is a reality from actual experience, when we are in a position to know the truth about it, those who are understanding that today see the reason why they are given opportunity after opportunity to correct the conditions of their mistakes. But one lifetime would not be sufficient to correct 100th part of the mistakes that are made in one lifetime. Today, in entering into the great freedom again, once and forever, beloved friends of America, see through the great light that is within your heart what this means to you. We present this with all the love of the divine power of the universe. Therefore, we leave it to you to accept or reject. We never impose anything upon anyone. You are wholly free, and the hearts of every one of you listening know that. Therefore, when in the future you come into the classes of the messengers, think of it. Think, beloved ones, of those unfortunate human beings who said that the messengers were run out of Chicago and dare not return. Well, they are having the most gigantic class of their experience in Chicago in October. Now then, friends of America, behold who is telling the truth or not. All we need to do is be just a little patient, and the truth will always reveal itself and the falsehood be exposed. So I say to you, listen to both sides of a story before forming judgment. Beloved friends of America, come and see the messengers before you believe that they have grown horns. You will find, when you see them, that that is not the case, and you never saw any human beings in the entire world pour forth so great a love and kindness and patience with humanity as they have proven to the world. Therefore I say to you, beloved friends of America, when convenient, come to the classes of the messengers and see for yourselves. But don't listen to false gossip and believe it without having seen for yourself. Therefore today, as we go forward in the expansion of this light, remember, beloved friends of America, you are a part of myself because you have listened today, because my stream of light and energy has gone into your world. Therefore I say to you, my blessing shall always abide with you. One day, when you come to understand this great truth of life, will you too, with the great body of students, thank me for my humble efforts in bringing to you this majestic, all-powerful understanding and application of life. It means everything to you. It means your freedom, your financial supply. It means your health, your strength, your mighty power of action to produce exact results in your world. Remember, your call to life will produce that exact mathematical result as you harmonize your feelings and realize that your call to life is the release and the call to light that knows no opposition. So stand forth, friends of America, in the fullness of all life holds for you, and for the victory of the law of life. Therefore, in the fullness of all that we are today and life is, will we have the goal, gentlemen, made manifest in the fullness of all the fondness that your heart has ever craved. Think of it. Today you stand with open heart, with your hands to your presence. Your presence holds your hand with its infinite power of light, taking you forward to the victory of all that your heart has ever desired. Beloved Minutemen, how deep is my gratitude to you. You mean everything to America. You mean everything to the world. Will you stand firmer and firmer in your mighty decrees as the messengers go forth from your midst? And when they return at Christmas time, have even more perfect the glory of the harmonious activity of the class than was in the last, which was magnificent beyond words. Don't worry about the unfortunate individuals who spread falsehood and discord. Remember, they must reap all that. Go serenely on with your work, calling the mighty I Am presence into action. And if you must give attention to those individuals, use one mighty decree and speak directly to the higher mental body of those individuals and say, mighty I Am presence, silence that human destructive thing. Then forget it and give no further thought to it than that. It has no power, beloved ones. Don't let it hold your attention and disturb you. You know I'm not a prophet, but I shall say this. On the messenger's return at Christmas time, I shall see the light within your own hearts expanded twice, at least, what it is today. Remember, gentlemen, your call to the presence is invincible. Do not let your intellect or anything else cause you to feel otherwise. You are master of yourself and your world, and do not accept a single thing but that. Remember, your firm, determined application will shatter every particle of human limitations that has ever been drawn about you. Gentlemen, I urge you again today, please do not fail to use the violet consuming flame or call the presence to do it at least twice a day with all the earnestness and determination at your command. You do not realize, as I do, what that means and how quickly it will set you into that freedom that will bring such immense response to your call or answer to your decrees. That is all you need to give you the full confidence in yourself in the law of life that is your freedom. I know great many who have not had the results from their call because they have been wavering in their feeling. They did not have the full confidence in their call that it would be answered. Well, when you know your presence, the mighty I Am is the governing intelligence of the universe, and its power of light goes forth to answer your call, that knows no opposite. Remember, gentlemen, keep this before you as you value your success. That which you call forth is the power of light, and it knows no opposite. Therefore, you cannot find opposition in your application. Don't you see you cannot do it, gentlemen? Your call to the presence, the mighty I Am, is the release of the currents of energy, rays of light that go forth, and it knows no opposite. I want you to realize that. Then, when you issue your decrees or you make your call, the answer will come, and quickly enough to give you the entire confidence that you require. Therefore, today, in the fullness of all that you wish to attain, in all that you wish to have, and I mean by that, of course, your victory of light and eventually your ascension, but your victory in the human octave in your supply and in the conditions that you require, gentlemen, it is just as definite as you are sitting here in these chairs this moment. All that it requires is your determination, your unyielding application, just like the messengers. Won't you let them be your example? Gentlemen, I want to put before you again today, you who are without financial supply, for goodness sake, understand the messengers were in your same position when I asked them to go forth. I could have, with the turn of my hand, released all the money they would ever require, but did I do it? No. When I would have given both arms and legs to have done it, yet I knew better. I know the law, and I knew if they did not make the application right then and there, that they would not win their victory in this embodiment. That is why I watched and found, of course I'm telling you a secret now that they have not known, I watched and found them in this position to see how much stamina was within the light within them, and I was not disappointed. Please be seated. Gentlemen, think of it, because they were so joyfully, willingly obedient to my slightest request, they decided to go forth. Now, gentlemen, this is the truth. Don't forget it. They have told you many times, but I am telling you myself today, for I want to drive this point home, that none of you gentlemen will ever admit again that you have financial limitations. I want you to dismiss that thing from your world forever. These blessed ones, not knowing outwardly which way to turn, took their rent money, and there was 5 months then due to go to Philadelphia. That was the proving, and that was what I wanted them to prove. They went forth with that full courage and power, and if you knew how timid this form standing before you was up to that time, you would not have thought it was possible. Therefore, gentlemen, I am telling you today the mightiest truth that exists in the world. There is not one thing in this universe to deprive you of the money supply you require, except your divided feeling. It cannot do it. Therefore, I say to you, dismiss that. When these messengers went forth in their conversation on the way to Philadelphia, they said, "Now, mighty I am presence, this is your work. This is your business. You have all power to supply us. And if you don't do it, we will go home." And they meant it. But the presence of all life, seeing that determination, seeing that willing obedience, answered. And they have been going ever since, and today stand in their freedom in every way. Gentlemen, I am referring to this again today for a very definite reason. There is not one of you today that does not have just as much money as they had then. But did they wait for money to come into their hands to prove the law? No. They buckled into their application and convinced themselves by the power of their application that it was invincible. So are you going to do that, gentlemen? I have faith in every one of you. I know you can do it, and you are going to do it. Furthermore, if I have to come around and give you a boost. Someday, when you begin to slump just a little, there will be a prod in your ribs to get going. Gentlemen, if you are as determined yourselves as I am that you have your freedom and financial freedom, because that seems to be the great monster which is standing around, remember, all you have to say to that is get the hints. You have no power, and its terrifying appearance will dissolve and disappear. Beloved gentlemen, will you try to understand that one point? Do you realize when you utter those words to any limiting appearance of any kind, you have no power? You are speaking the currents of light and energy directly into that thing. I mean the cause of it that is holding you within your financial limitations. Don't you see that? It is not just so many words said, but that is the current of energy going into the cause of that thing. Whether it be in your feeling world or some condition that has accumulated outside, it does not make any difference which it is that goes forth to dissolve, and does dissolve it then and there. If you don't let that feeling revolve again, then you are free. I want you to see how real and simple it is. But gentlemen, when you have made your application, don't let your intellect all of a sudden in some surprising moment say, "My application has not yet produced results." Suppose it has not in the appearance. How shall you say what is going on in the invisible? Oh, don't you see, gentlemen, that everything, every particle of your application begins to act in the invisible, in your feeling world first. And if it has found conditions there that have to be cleared out, remedied before it comes into expression in your physical use, well, is there anything to be discouraged about? Now look, dear ones, the messengers in the beginning had to make days and weeks and sometimes months of application before the thing yielded to them. But did they ever accept for one moment that their application was not producing results? Not even once. That is where the victory lies. That is why I want you to feel the victory today. Your application cannot fail, never did, and never will. If you quit, the fault is yours, isn't it? Remember, gentlemen, I know these laws. I have applied them to my freedom, and I am in a position to prompt you and tell you how and why you can have certain results. Could you blame the law? Could you blame your application if you quit? If you started a business and after a few months you turned your back on the business and walked out, do you suppose it would succeed? It would stop right then and there. Now, when you have applied the laws and then there rushes in upon you a feeling of, well, I have not had results yet. That moment, you just have turned your back upon the great presence of life. And unless the momentum has been gained enough to force itself through, the probability is that you will have to start all over in your application. I am prompting you. Don't yield one single instant that your application could fail or has failed in any way, because, as we have said repeatedly, and others of the great ones have said to you, we have observed among the students innumerable times where they were right up to the full release of the momentum that would bring the results when they said, oh, I guess it's no use. My application has not worked. They annulled everything that had been gained up to that point, which was ready to press forth into use in their outer world. That is why I say, gentlemen, do not yield to such a thing as failure in your application. It never would fail. Think of it. Do you think when once your attention has been called to the presence of all life, that life would ever fail you? Don't you see that everything of limitation or so-called failure that enters into your life is your own doing? It is so wonderful, gentlemen, when you realize that you have come to the point of understanding now where you understand what is acting and why these conditions are. It is because of the lack of determination and understanding upon your part. Still, life does not condemn you or lash you for having made these mistakes. It just waits. It does not make any difference to us what your mistakes have been. That is not our business. Our business is to help you produce perfection. We have never condemned a human being yet, nor ever will, for their mistakes, nor even referred to them unless it was to instruct them in some way. Life does the same thing. It has waited throughout the centuries for you to give it your attention once again. Therefore, give it the opportunity to flood its greater volume and activity of perfection forth into your world. So I say to you, gentlemen, your victory is sure. Just think of it. Won't you feel the great joy and gratitude within my heart when for several hundred years I have served and served and served, trying to draw enough children of earth together where I could gain a momentum of power and application that would break down every human quality and resistance there was? Gentlemen, we are almost there. I want to tell you, magnificent as all the other work is, there is something released from the feeling world of the individuals in the Minutemen and the Daughters of Light that is not released ordinarily. Just now, I do not care to try to explain that to you, but it absolutely exists. Therefore, gentlemen, go on and on and on with greater determination and the full understanding that in your decrees and by them you can remedy every condition that exists in America, in the world of industry, in your transportation. Keep up your mighty decrees for the annihilation of all agitation and strikes. That is the whole thing that has put your America into the condition it is in today. These agitators, gentlemen, have no care or thought for anything but destruction. When you see today the wholesale slaughter in Europe in places where there is no cause in the world, they fly over and thousands of people, women and children destroyed because they have gone beyond war. They have gone into wholesale murder and slaughter. That is the condition that exists there today. There is no longer any consideration of justice, just a released power of that whole destructive thing that has even forgotten the last vestige of war. The same condition would be in action in your America today if I had not brought this knowledge forth at the time I did. If I had not found two strong enough to carry it forth, that condition would be right with you today. Don't make any mistake about it, gentlemen. I know what I'm talking about. You today, look how your mighty decrees have silenced all these strikes everywhere over America, and those that have recently been threatened faded away. Gentlemen, these agitators no longer are able to influence these people, for the people that once were influenced are awakening by your mighty decrees sent forth in the mental and feeling world, and they see the treachery and no longer yield to it. How my heart has gone out to those blessed men because they believed in those individuals who so cunningly put before them a possibility only to drag them into greater limitations and privation. Look today at the communistic activities. Those individuals have steadily drawn the mountain supply and have put it away for that day when the people would no longer accept them. Then they would disappear and live in luxury for the rest of their lives. That is what the agitators have done to the blessed people of America. They have but one desire in the beginning, and that was to suck the money out of the people. What do they care about whether your families eat or not? Blessed mankind, feeling and seeing the need of remedy for the time being, was drawn into this unfortunate thing that today is fast fading from the face of the earth. Now, gentlemen, whether you see an outer need for it or not, keep up your mighty, dynamic decrees to silence forever all strikes and to remove from America forever all agitators. Then you will gain the momentum and power to go forth to prevent these things in your midst. To think that a human being can become so depraved as to seek only the destruction of his fellow man. Gentlemen, let me draw firmly to your attention another point, because you are I am students. Don't get any idea that you must lie down and be made a doormat. Now please get that point. It does not mean that you are to just pour out love and kindness to a destructive force that wants to destroy you, but in the great power of your mighty decrees and the firmness and determination, send forth your mighty decree to annihilate that thing because it is a destructive quality. I know in the beginning of this work, many individuals thought that they must not oppose. You do not oppose, but you issue a decree in the power of life to dissolve the thing or condition. You must be firm against human destructive qualities. Don't forget that. But you do not have to be unkind. You don't have to be destructive about it, but in your firm determination and your call for the presence of life to dissolve, consume, and annihilate the quality that is acting, there is right and justice. I want you to feel that. Gentlemen, when in Washington and when in Paris, I allowed Mr. Gaylord to be a decoy to draw together certain individuals who were focuses of a very great destructive force. Do you think I felt unkind when in raising my hand I released the locks on those doors and walked in and, by the power of my own radiation, held them immobile and helpless? Do you think there was any destructive force acting there? No, I simply turned back upon them their own force, which was acting, that held them immobile. Every one of those claws of the sinister force took an oath when they began to serve that power of darkness, and they know what they must do if they fail. Now we have no authority or power to prevent them fulfilling their oath which they have taken. They do not have to fulfill that oath, but because they believe in the power of darkness that made them give that, almost without exception, they do fulfill it. Only in a very few instances, where we see the redemption by the power of light within those individuals, do we stay that activity and give them one more opportunity. That is why, gentlemen, I want you to feel that you must, if necessary, be terrifically positive against human discordant conditions, but never unkind or destructive. When you call the power of your presence, the power of light, into action to dissolve, consume, or annihilate a quality, well, you know then positively that the power of the mighty I Am presence will do it. I will just call your attention, gentlemen. The messengers have been so very patient in all these falsehoods that have been spread about their not returning to Chicago. Why, they lived and taught in Chicago for 2 years, and yet those reports go forth. Mankind are foolish enough to believe it, but now they are returning to disprove that lie to all who have uttered it. I want to say to you, gentlemen, this same falsehood has been spread to almost every businessman's activity throughout America. I need not tell you by whom. You already know that. Think of it, men representing the heart of the business activity of America who would accept that falsehood without investigating both sides of the question. Now that has been done in many places in America, and when those businessmen see that mistake, they will be more careful in the future. For mankind to accept a report without verifying it, to see whether it is true or not, is certainly a mistake upon the part of anyone. So I want to prompt you, wherever you have the opportunity, kill those silly reports and be firm and sure of yourself when you do it. Therefore, as we go forth in this mighty expansion, gentlemen, I could say some things to you today that I am sure, regardless of the appearance of age, you could readily turn a handspring. But I will say just this much, that the achievement, the expansion of the light within the last 60 days has been beyond our fondest hope or expectation. The response from within the feeling world of the students everywhere has been so much firmer, so much greater than seemed possible 90 days ago, because as I have said to you repeatedly, until the human has gained self-control, you cannot depend upon what it is going to do. I mean, in its feeling, with so much of it, it is unruly. But today, and since the beginning of the Shrine class, the most gigantic change has come within all the students of America. It is the most joyful, encouraging, magnificent thing. I say to you, have all the courage in the world and do not yield, gentlemen. For I know so many in America today, because of this strike condition and agitators and the failure of employment, who do yield. But you, as I am students, need not. Here is another thing, gentlemen. Because you in your application come into your own right avenue of service, do not ever think you are depriving someone else. Everyone has the right of application, and if they do not make it, if they do not know how to make it, the fault is not yours. You, in your application, can have your right avenue of service, can have your employment. Gentlemen, there never was such a mercy in the world as having something to keep your attention occupied. It is the greatest blessing that ever came to mankind in the world in the present state. Do you know, gentlemen, as the greater perfection comes in, you will have a trinity of action, which the threefold flame represents in the most glorious action that the world of mankind has known in hundreds of thousands of years. You will find your balance of action, 8 hours of service, 8 hours of recreation, and 8 hours of rest. You don't want just 2 or 3 hours of service. Don't ever think that, gentlemen. In all life, there is that threefold action, and when it is balanced, it produces perfection. I want you to understand that, and as you come into this greater perfection, you will find that you have these 3 activities. Then, as you come to understand that your great presence of life can make you a rounded out individual, there is not only one thing you can do, but you will be able to do whatever your attention is fixed upon, because the intelligence of the presence will enable you to do it. Think of it, the great presence of life of this good messenger in England did what the best lawyers in England and America failed to do, and he was only a lad. Therefore, dear ones, I want you to realize today that in the call to your presence, not only is one avenue open to you for your success and achievement, but all avenues, and you will not be confined to just one. Suppose you have been trained in one particular activity, your presence of life, like a flash of lightning, can prepare you and make you equal to whatever is required in your service that you desire. I want you to hold that unlimited action of your presence through your own brain and body, because it is true. In all the glorious things that are before you in your call to the presence, gentlemen, be firm, be determined, and stand unyielding in your call for that perfection and limitless supply, and all that you wish to have come forth into your use and action through your body and into your world of action, and you will have that eternal blessing, freedom, and perfection of life. I thank you, gentlemen, with all my heart for this opportunity again today, and I know that I stand with you in your determination for freedom, for supply, for the victory of life. If you will stand with me, I will stand with you, and no person ever failed under my assistance. Gentlemen, you perhaps do not conceive what the power of divine love is in its fullness. But were you my children in a physical embodiment, I could not possibly love you 1/10 of what I love you today when I see your willingness to make the necessary application to be free. Knowing that we have by the identical same application attained our freedom, then do you understand why that love is so great? There is no human element in it, but a great power of love that wants you to have your freedom because you are so near it. While you are standing, gentlemen, just let this great power flow in and through, and as the violet consuming flame extends from the floor in, through, and about each one of you, meeting the unfed flame from above, feel yourself held within its eternal radiance, free of every limiting thing, free of every condition that has disturbed your physical body. Feel that mighty fire of life flood through your veins to cleanse and purify your bloodstream of every impurity that is there. Feel that great activity take place within the energy, the bloodstream of your physical body, within the streams of energy within your feeling and emotional world. As we charge and expand into the fullness of health, perfection, and freedom, hold that firm within your feeling. Qualify it now in and by the power of your high mental body to sustain it, that you may hold all this that has been drawn and gathered about you today to ever expand in its great freedom and perfection for you. A great presence has recently come forth again from within the great silence. That presence is giving you that assistance today. So I want you to realize that everything that the outer man is capable of receiving is being brought forth into action for your freedom, sustaining power of protection and supply. We are determined that not one I Am student in America or the world shall be without the comfortable supply necessary for their service. And if you will go on with your decrees for that objective, you will find that coming into action daily, there is no question about it. Therefore, as these currents of energy are charging forth today, anchoring within your feeling world the strength and courage, the happiness for all that you require, accept it in its fullness and let it do its perfect work. I thank you, gentlemen, and in the fullness of that great host of light, those great cosmic beings, the legions of light, the great cosmic light which is focused here, accept the fullness of its invincible power, its invincible protection, its directing intelligence, and your freedom and victory in the light now and forever sustained. I thank you.